Hi, I'm Open National Trainer Brian Devore from Atlanta, Georgia, and welcome to my technology session. I appreciate the invitation to present at your state conference this year, and I hope that you are able to learn some different technology tools in this session that you can utilize, whether it be in a virtual format or a face-to-face with physical distancing format. Everything that we're going to share today can be used in either health education or physical education. So I want to make sure that you understand that this is for teachers of all grade levels and really all content areas. So once again, I do appreciate the invitation. We will go ahead today and do a short little PowerPoint to talk a little bit about technology and why we need to utilize it in our classes. And then we'll dump into the internet and I'll show you a lot of different technology tools that I've learned over the past year. Some of them are oldies but goodies, and then some of them are newer ones that have just kind of come out. So I will kind of caution you before we get started that we'll probably get through a good, 8 to 10 to 15 different technology tools during this session. Don't get too overwhelmed with the different technology tools and think, oh, well, there's too much. I don't want to try any of it. Take little bites at a time. Try one or two that you really want to focus on that either really captured your imagination or you feel really will enhance student learning, and work with those one or two. And then once you kind of get a handle on those one or two technology tools, then look to try a couple of new ones. So it's just little bites at a time. Figure out what's going to work with you, what will fit into your teaching style, and what's going on in your classrooms best so that you have the opportunity to enhance student learning. And really, that's the bottom line for utilizing these technology tools is student learning. Don't use it just because you think it might be the neatest thing in the world and you want to try it first thing on Monday morning. Make sure that it has a purpose behind it and make sure that it does do something to enhance your teaching, make your life easier, or enhance student learning. So we are going to go into a short little PowerPoint, as I mentioned, so that we can go ahead and get a little bit of background. Once again, my name is Brian Devore, and you can reach me at that email address, bdevore@openphysed.org, and more than happy to answer any questions that you may have at any time, whether it be about utilizing these tech tools or um, how to do things with physical education. You can follow me on social media at those different handles. And of course, you can follow Open Phys Ed on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram as well. Quick little shameless plug for Open. We will do Open National Field Day again this year on May the 7th, and registration is open. So you can check it out there on the social media channels or go to openphysed.org for registration too. This year's event will be for not only virtual students, but also schools and students who are in that face-to-face format with some distancing. So trying to create some different tools that teachers can utilize given our current teaching situations. So the ground rules today, and some of these apply more so than others in this virtual format that we're doing with recordings. So we want to model good SEL competencies no matter what. So please do make sure that you mute your microphone if you're attending at a certain time and use the chat box for questions. I may be in there or another moderator may be in there to go ahead and answer questions and work with you on those. So make sure that you are managing yourself. Make sure you have good social awareness. Respect the opinions of others. We all come from different backgrounds. We teach different types of students. We're in different teaching situations. Some may be virtual, some may be face-to-face, some may be a combination. So be respectful of the opinions and questions that other people have as we go through the session. And then also relationship skills, speaking respectfully and cordially. And that also extends to the chat box. Words matter. So the things that you type in there, make sure that you're respectful and make sure that you are using good language and good skills too as we go through the chat box and managing good relationships with everyone on this session today. So why would we even utilize technology? Why do we even need to worry about utilizing it? So, obviously about 10 months ago, everybody was really forced into utilizing technology. We really didn't have a choice at that point. Pretty much the whole country, with a few small exceptions, were forced into the teaching virtually, and we had to go into using technology to communicate with our students and work with our students and provide lessons to our students. As we got into the fall of this year, whether we were virtual or face-to-face, many school districts still made it mandatory that teachers were utilizing technology, whether it was posting through the learning management system that the school district had to make sure that lessons were ready in case they did have to go virtual, or the school district was virtual and you had to create lesson plans and lessons to work with your students virtually, or you had a combination where you had students face to face, but you also had to work with students in the virtual environment. So, we haven't had much choice over the last 10 to 11 months, but I do think that one thing that we need to consider is this. We had a lot of teachers before this pandemic who were stuck in their ways. And because today was February the 15th, they just reached up on the bookshelf, pulled out their lesson plan for February the 15th, because that's what they've done the last 10 years on February 15th. And they never changed that lesson plan for that day. They did the same thing every day, year after year. Well, this situation has shown us that we do need to change. We do need to modify. We need to meet our students where they're at. A lot of them embrace technology, and like it or not, right now, we're pretty much entertainers in what we do. We have to find a hook for our students and engage them in our lessons so that they are ready to go and ready to learn. If we don't engage them and we don't hook them, then they're going to lose interest pretty quickly. And many of us have learned, particularly in the virtual environment, that we need to do that, because if we don't, our students are going to turn their screens off and they're not going to engage, and many of them may not turn in any work. The quote at the bottom there is from longtime Miami-Dade physical education and health coordinator, Dr. Jane Greenberg. And I had a discussion with her one time, and she said this is something that she always shares with her teachers is, are you going to teach for 30 years or are you going to teach 1 year 30 times? We got stuck, I think a lot of us in physical education and even health education got stuck teaching 1 year 30 times. Today's April 15th, so I'm going to pull off the bookshelf what I do on April 15th, and that's my lesson plan for today. Well, last year on April 15th, we couldn't do that. We had to create something new and different for our students to go ahead and do in a brand new lesson. So I encourage you to embrace some of these technology tools and some of the things that you've learned over the last 10 to 11 months, and still continue to use them in your classrooms. And that's going to be the true test for us, and a way we can really change the narrative around health education and physical education. If we take the things that we've had to do over the last 10 to 11 months and utilize them when we return to normal school and normal health and physical education, then we have the opportunity to advance our fields and move them forward. And I hope we will take advantage of that. So there are some cautions as far as utilizing technology. First of all, test it out, and test it out under a variety of conditions. One thing I always did was I tested it out with my own kids. And right now I test it out on other adults to make sure that it works. So I would create something and then I would send it to them and say, hey, take a look at this, see if it makes sense to you. What are some obstacles? Or is there anything you don't understand? How does it work? Does it look okay? Does it, sometimes it might look a little different on a phone if a student accesses it on a phone or on a tablet versus the laptop that I created it on. So you always have to test it out under a variety of conditions to make sure that whatever tech tool you're utilizing works well with the students. They don't have questions, and it works well on under a laptop or a phone or a tablet. Also, investigate the technology tool to determine if all of it is free, you have full access to everything, or if only parts of it are free and you have to pay a premium in order to access certain parts or to do more with it. There are some technology tools where they'll give you a certain number of downloads to do different things with photos or with documents. So you don't want to go in there thinking you're going to do 8 different things and it'll only let you do 2 and you can't do any more for 24 hours. So you want to make sure that you do have the ability to do what you want or understand those limitations going in so that you can plan accordingly. You also want to look for free teacher accounts. So a lot of different technology tools gave teachers everywhere free use of all of their entire repertoire of tools during the pandemic when we were in the spring last year. And then when we went back to school in the fall of 2020, many of them kind of rescinded those offers and said, okay, if you want to keep using our technology tools, now you're going to have to pay for them. They still usually offered a watered down version for free, but you had to pay a premium to get all the bells and whistles. So there are some of those that are like that we'll go over today, and I'll try and warn you about that ahead of time. One of the tools that we'll utilize, the first one, actually does have free teacher accounts, and I'll walk you through how to find those and access it. And then last but not least, try it at home and at school. Your school networks sometimes will block things, so you need to be prepared for that. Now, just because your network and your school district IT department blocks something doesn't mean it can't be unblocked. So that's where you need to go through your school district and the IT department or technology department to talk to people to find out, okay, what's the process for getting this website or this tech tool whitelisted, where it's enabled so that people can access it. Be prepared to make sure that you have a reason why, and a valid reason, not just because I think it's neat, but because I'm trying to teach this lesson and it's a valuable learning tool for my students, or I need it so that I can do this so I can enhance the learning for my students. So have some good reasons why you want that technology tool made available. There's been a lot of times and a lot of tech tools that I've used where I've created something really great at home and I go into school and I log in and the site has been blocked. So the last thing you want is, whether it's a virtual environment or a face-to-face environment, you walk in and you go ahead and try and go boot everything up and get it going and it's blocked. And then, students can't access it. And if it's a virtual environment, maybe even worse. You got 30 or 35 kids emailing you all of a sudden saying, hey, I can't access this. And, it's a lot easier to, maybe, as I mentioned earlier, take 2 or 3 of your superstar students and give them access to see how it looks for them and how they can access it and make sure it works. Because it's easier to handle 2 or 3 questions than it is 35 in first period, and knowing that there's something you got to fix before second period starts. So where can you find all these tech tools and everything that we're working at today? So it's available at that link. If you want to take a picture of it so that you have it, that's fine. You can always come back in the recording and view it too. If I happen to be on in the chat as well, I'll go ahead and enter it in the chat there so that you can go ahead and access this. Symbaloo is what it's called, and that's the first tech tool that we're going to use. So I'll explain a little bit about it, the ins and outs and the nuts and bolts and what the advantages are, so that you can create your free account, and then also so you know how to interact with the platform that I have. So we're getting ready to go ahead and jump on the internet. So please do remember, it is the internet. Typically, we don't have any issues as we go through this session, but hey, you never know. Every session is different. If we do have some type of an issue or some little bug comes along, we'll make sure that we go ahead and address that and make sure that we move along just like we would in a regular PE class. So, as I mentioned before, Symbaloo is one of those particular websites that does have a free teacher account. So when you go to look for Symbaloo, you are going to make sure that you are accessing the Symbaloo EDU or educator accounts. Now, Symbaloo, and I'm in my Symbaloo right now, which I will work off of today. In the upper left here, you see there's 2 different boxes. One is this blue box. If you click on it, it's a hot link. It takes you into a video that talks a little bit more about Symbaloo. So if you forget why you need to utilize it, you can check out that video. The one next to it here, this white one that says Symbaloo, this is where you go to get an educator account. So you click on that. It's going to take you to Symbaloo, and in the lower left, you should have a pop-up box that comes up about creating a Symbaloo educator account. Now, if you have gone ahead and followed along with me and you clicked on that link to Symbaloo, yours will look a little different than mine. This is what yours will look like. So it's basically the same thing. You just don't have, logged into my account and have the different bells and whistles that I have. So all of these are hot links. So if you click on it, it's going to open up that particular website. If you do have a Symbaloo account, or once you create one and you want to add this web mix into your Symbaloo, you would click on this button here as you're logged in. Now, you do not have editing rights on this Symbaloo. You can't do anything to change it. It belongs to me, and I haven't given you editing rights. One thing that you will notice, though, maybe you come in here a month from now, you might notice, like at the bottom here, maybe some of these boxes are filled in. I will continue to add to this Symbaloo when I find new technology tools. So it's possible that you go through all this, you see something new popped up, you're like, hey, coach put in a new link in there. I want to check it out, see what this new technology tool is. You're more than welcome to go in there and click, and we won't get through all these tech tools today. So if you want to go in and investigate some of them on your own, you're more than welcome to do that as well. But I wanted to let you know that that's what it'll look like, because it will look a little different on your side. So back to my Symbaloo, and let's talk a little bit about the advantages. As I mentioned, these boxes are all hot links. You'll see like on the left-hand side here where this green one is, you see 4 other little boxes. That just means that there are actually tiles underneath that tile. So you can build tiles within tiles of groupings if you want to. So there are a few of those that are on here. There's another one right here in the middle with support real teachers also. Another great thing is you can build multiple web mixes. So when I talked on that last screen about adding this web mix to your account, basically it'll pop up as one of these file tabs going across the top that you can go ahead and access. It will have a lock on it though to show you that it doesn't belong to you and you can't edit it. It belongs to somebody else. So that's how you kind of differentiate there. But all these are different Symbaloos. For example, these two in the middle, UNG1 and UNG, those are for when I was in grad school and I was getting my research all together for my research project, my supporting research. Whenever I found a research paper that applied to what I was doing, I just copied the bookmark and I bookmarked it in there and I had it all together in one spot. So that way I didn't have to go back searching through multiple bookmarks and the tab on my web browser to see what was going on and find all those different things. I was able to basically just drop it all in and keep it all together. And then I was able to group everything together the way I wanted to keep it all straight. So it was a very easy way for me to go ahead and bookmark everything and keep all my projects all together in one spot. Now, the beautiful thing about Symbaloo is this. You can access Symbaloo from any computer anywhere. You just have to log in. So if my computer that I'm on right now were to crash and burn, I would still be able to log in on another computer and access my Symbaloo and find all my bookmarks and find all my links. Symbaloo also has an app that you can utilize on your phone or on a tablet. So you would still be able to access all the things that you have in your bookmarks on your phone or on a tablet. So it does make it so that everything is readily available at your fingertips whenever you want it. You do also have the ability to share your Symbaloos, and I'll click on that there in the top middle. So there's a lot of ways you can do it. You can create a link, which is how I've shared this Symbaloo with you. You can email it, utilize social media. But another cool thing is you can integrate it. If your school is a Google district, you can integrate it into Google Classroom. You also can get an embed code. So you can copy that embed code and put it into a website, whether it's your school website. For Georgia AFERD, our state professional organization, we have our teacher toolbox in a Symbaloo. And that's how we did it. We embedded it within the website utilizing the embed code off of Symbaloo. So this is a wonderful tool that you can utilize to share many different bookmarks and websites. Now, as far as practical application, what does it mean to you? Well, obviously, number one, you can access things whether you're at home, school, on the go, wherever you may be. It's a great way to keep things organized. Your things for school, your things for home, your things for graduate school, research, whatever it is that you may do. Also, from a practical teaching standpoint, it's a wonderful way to manage where your students go to look for information. So if I'm doing a project in health education or physical education, I can manage where I send my students in order to do research for their project or where they get their sources. Say you have to work off of this Symbaloo. So it's a wonderful way for me to keep from turning my students loose on Google and finding things that they probably don't need to find or maybe don't need to find, or having irate parents for me sending them out onto the internet, just to utilize Google. So I can also come up with some great resources for them to do research projects, but also guide them in the direction that I want to send them. So I really like Symbaloo. It can be a little time consuming and overwhelming at first, but you just have to get in the habit of when you find something new that you want to add, of boom, I put it in my Symbaloo right away. And I keep my Symbaloos open on my desktop all the time. It's always one of the tabs that's open because I never know what tool I'm going to need to utilize from one minute to the next. So definitely one of those accounts or one of those technology tools that I've found very valuable and useful over the last few years. Once again, make sure you utilize that educator section and make sure you create that educator account. If you just go to Symbaloo.com, it's going to ask you to pay a premium to use their service, and you don't want to get into that, obviously. So I know as we've gone into virtual education last spring and as well as this fall, a lot of teachers have utilized YouTube and tried to integrate YouTube videos into their teaching, whether it be from pulling in other YouTubes from other teachers, whether it be creating their own, whether it be using them to help enhance with instruction and creating lessons for their students. But one of the obstacles is a lot of times YouTube is blocked by the school district. Also, another obstacle is that teachers don't like pop-up ads coming up, or the block of videos that come up at the end saying, hey, you may also like these. So what I've done is I've found some different ways that you can kind of work around some of those issues, and I'm going to show you some here in just a minute. Now, the first couple, you're going to have to watch very carefully because they're really not in the Symbaloo. These are in basically utilizing that toolbar at the top of your screen. So when we get in there, you're going to go ahead and you're going to have to manipulate this toolbar at the top. So if I just go ahead and start this video, it's going to go ahead and play the video within YouTube. And even if I go to full screen, it still has the possibility of having the pop-up ads and also having the videos that come up on the side at the end. Now, I'm going to go up to the URL toolbar up here. And when I'm up here, I'm going to manipulate this web address to change it so that it only shows the video. So as I'm up here in the top toolbar, if I go to where the word watch is, and I click and put my cursor there, I'm then going to type in an underscore and the word pop up. And you see that it has indeed changed it to watch underscore pop up. And then I'm going to hit enter. And when I do that, it's going to change the video into just a full screen video. And it's going to eliminate all those pop-ups. So I no longer will have any ads that pop up from the bottom. And when the video finishes, the video finishes. I'm not going to get all the pop-up videos on the side at the end. So that's just done by manipulating that web address at the top, the URL at the top. So once again, what I did was at the top, I went in at the end of the word watch is where I put my cursor, and that's where I put in the underscore and the word pop-up. Okay, so that's right in this area is where I manipulated that address. So there's another way to do this as well. And I'm showing you a couple different ways because you never know when YouTube might change some of this stuff around and it's no good anymore. But I have obviously checked these to make sure it's okay. This one is going to be over here in the web address, manipulating the word YouTube that's all together. So if I go in just after the T in tube and I put my cursor there and I drop a hyphen in. So you see in blue right here, I've changed the address, UT hyphen UB and the rest of it. And then I hit enter. This is also going to do the same thing. It's gone ahead and it's eliminated the pop-up ads. It's just basically gives me a full screen of the YouTube video. So this kind of goes through through YouTube though. Still, you see that the address is still YouTube at the top. So it's if your district has blocked YouTube, it's going to make it so that that really doesn't matter. It's still not going to probably allow you to utilize that YouTube URL going through. Now, if for some reason your district will not allow YouTube to be whitelisted or certain videos to be whitelisted, you do have the opportunity to take the link and use other YouTube tools. So down here, I'm going to click share, and I'm going to copy this YouTube link to show you some of these other tools. So we're going to go back into our Symbaloo, and on the left-hand side here where it's in green, you see YouTube tools. I'm going to click on that. So there are 4 different YouTube tools that are available underneath there. And with these YouTube tools, you have the opportunity to take the link that you copied and put those into these different tools, and you can manipulate it and then work through their servers in order to get a new YouTube link that is safe to share with your students. And by safe, I mean it eliminates the pop-up ads and all the extra ads at the end for other videos. Now, 2 of them have changed a little bit. The 2 on the left-hand side here, Watchkin and SafeShare TV, have moved to more of a premium type of membership. You can do 1 or 2 videos, but the link may not stay for more than 24 hours, and they do ask you to create an account, and you can only do a couple at a time. ViewPure right here is one of my favorites because it will allow you to create an account. I'll go ahead and click on that. So you can use it with or without an account. I like to log into my account typically, but it's very simple and the other two work very similarly. So it says here, enter the YouTube URL or search term. So if I just paste in the YouTube link that I copied and I click this purify button, it will then take me into a version of the video with no pop-ups. It's basically just the video there. And you see I have the opportunity to copy the link right here. So if I do copy that link and I go into, open up another window and I go ahead and put it in, I didn't copy on there, but it will go ahead and give me a view pure link. It'll give me this link right up here. See in the top bar up here, it will go ahead and give me that view pure link. So I'll be working through view pure rather than working through the YouTube link. There we go, copy link there. Now it's copied. So I open in another one. And I'm not sure why that didn't go because typically with ViewPure, it goes right into that link. But I know that I can copy this one and throw it in there. So I can share that link with my students, and that ViewPure link up at the top will go ahead and it will enable me to go through ViewPure rather than working through YouTube for the connection there. So that is kind of the workaround for that. ViewPure also will allow you, when you create an account, to store up to 10 videos in there. So it will allow you to have that and have the ability to make that happen. So I can store some links in there up to 10. And then if you want to do more than 10, it will ask you to pay a premium. So that's the tool ViewPure. The other one that I really like now is Video Link. This used to be called safeyoutube.net, but they've changed it. So this one, basically you don't have to have any type of an account for this. So that's one of the reasons that I really liked it and really like the ability to utilize this. So basically it works the same way. I can go ahead and paste a YouTube link in there so that I can go ahead and have the ability, let me grab that again, copy and I paste it in. And then I'm going to hit my generate link. So this one's kind of neat, utilizing the video link, because you will get a video link. You see it's going to work through video link rather than through YouTube. Once again, another potential workaround for you. You do have the ability to not only just copy, but you also can get HTML code if you want to embed it within a website. You also can do QR codes, share on social media, however you want to there. But you also, within this particular platform, have the ability to customize. So you can choose a background, and that's just the background that the video appears upon. But then you also do have the ability to crop the video. So if you only wanted to show a certain section of the video, you would have the ability to go in and crop the video where you wanted to. So in this 2-minute and 7-second video, if I only wanted to show 37 seconds of it, I could crop it down to where I wanted to, and then I would only share that section with my students. So just another wonderful way to utilize that video link platform. So really a handy thing for you to be able to go ahead and use with your students. So those are some of the YouTube tools that you can utilize to work with videos and work with YouTube to either make it so that the YouTube video is enhanced for what you want to use, or as a potential workaround so that students can go ahead and access some of those YouTube videos without actually being on that YouTube platform. So if you are delivering content virtually, these next two things are things that are kind of the latest and greatest and some of the hottest things, and they are soundboards. And you see them down here at the bottom kind of center of the Symbaloo. So there's a rather simple one that's right here through Class Tools. I'll click on that one. Um, so basically what these are, it enables you to play sounds, audio, as you're going through delivering your virtual lesson. So if you're in a synchronous situation and you have the ability to go through and have, especially if you can have two different screens at the same time, if you have an additional screen, you could have this up on one screen while you're delivering instruction on another screen. And basically it just plays different sounds, and obviously you need to be appropriate with them, but somebody gives you a correct answer and it's really good, then you can give them a round of applause there and kind of enhance and engage students. Like I said earlier, we kind of have to be entertainers with this, especially with our virtual lessons. Somebody does something really great, hey, we got cheers for them coming out. So this one's pretty simple here, and you can obviously share it or embed it within your website. So you do have the ability to share this one with other people. Another one that's kind of cool that I found is a teacher soundboard that's available through Google Slides. So this one's obviously you'll see it's a little bit more enhanced, and it does have the slide there. So you do have the ability to click on that and see it, and also you should be able just to go to this link right here and then be able to create a copy of it. But a lot of these are popping up on a lot of the different networks that people will share. So you, once again, basically you just click on it. You can have it open in another window or, on another screen. Somebody gives a correct answer. They give a round of applause, depending on the classroom environment and how things go. If somebody maybe doesn't do something so well, you can have the sad trombone noise, or at the end of class, I know teachers use this sometimes as the sign to that class is about to end. So a lot of different things that you can utilize with this, and you can create your own. But a lot of people have a lot of these different soundboards that are out there and available. If you have to do video presentations, maybe it's an asynchronous atmosphere, and you have to do a video presentation to share with students. You can obviously integrate this into the recording of your video presentation. So you do have the ability to use these soundboards and make it so that it works. And like I said, it spices up and engages the learners, and they don't know from one minute to the next what the sound may be. So obviously you can overuse them too much, but it's just a neat thing that really kind of keeps the kids on their toes, and is a breakup from your voice going over and over and over again. One thing that I found actually over the last couple of weeks, and you may have some questions about my cursor. It's over here on the left-hand screen. It's like, man, I can see his cursor wherever he goes until he goes up into the toolbar, but you can see it. And then when I hover over one of the tiles, it turns to a big blue hand with the pointer finger, which lets me know that it is going to be linked there. So this actually is an extension, a Google Chrome extension called Custom Cursor, and it's down here on the lower left-hand side of the symbol. I could also, because I have it downloaded, I could go up to extensions up here and go ahead and open it up from there. But I'll open up Custom Cursor. Once again, it is an extension you can download into Google Chrome. But basically, this enables you to go ahead and change your cursor and make your cursor whatever you want it to be. So, it's winter right now. We're in basketball season. So you see I added this one where I can make my cursor an orange arrow. And then when I hover over something I can click, it changes into that orange basketball. Of course, if you know me, I love my Krispy Kreme donut cursor there, so I may have to investigate getting into my Krispy Kreme cursor. But the extension itself does give you a lot of options. So if you just download the extension and you open that, it's going to pop up, and it will enable you to change the color. You can see that's simply what I did right there. I utilized the blue, but it also has different holiday cursors that you can utilize depending on the time of year, different jobs. It also has different sports here. So when you transition maybe from basketball season into baseball season, you could utilize the baseball cursors. So it's a nice way to engage students and show them something different, especially if you're working off that virtual computer screen. I like it because it's never a question where my cursor is. When I was back in the Zoom windows, I was having a hard time tracking where the cursor is, but it's nice and easy for me to see. If you do virtual presentations, it's a wonderful way to have participants be able to see your cursor and see where it goes as it's moving across the screen. And then also, with your students, like I said, it's just another one of those hooks that keeps them engaged. When you change, if you change your cursor once a week or you change it once a month, or even once a quarter, it it does give them something new to look at and something to change the layout of the screen a little bit so that you can engage your students a little bit. Speaking of engaging your students with the screens, the next one I'm going to share with you is up here at the top in the middle called Classroom Screen. So Classroom Screen does have a free version that you can utilize. It also has a paid version, which with the paid version means basically you can kind of save your screens that you're utilizing. So you would have the ability to have your screen and be able to use it from day to day to day without having to relaunch it. If you use the free version, you're just going to have to launch, whether it be from this green button or the green button up here. So if I go ahead and launch my classroom screen, it's going to go ahead and pull it up. Once it loads, it's going to give me a background that's obviously in there right away. On the left-hand side, I can go ahead and change my background to whatever I want. So if I want to choose one of the photos that's over here, I can choose one of these photos. I can choose an animation. I can choose a winter scene. I can even upload my own background that I want to. So let's say I like this little polar bear here. So I select him and I'm going to change into a friendly polar bear because it is a winter type of theme. So I've got that up there. So if I share my screen with my students, this is what they're going to see. I also have a bunch of different tools down here on the bottom. Now, if I want to get rid of this toolbar so I can use more space, I can hide that widget bar. I just click on the arrow down here at the bottom in order to bring it back up again. So as I'm working through, creating my screen or what I want my screen to look like, I can put a traffic light in there if I want to. So when I put the traffic light in there, this is a great way, especially if I'm doing synchronous lessons, to let my students know that, class is either starting or about to start as I prepare to go through class. So, when everybody's logging in, maybe I click the green light to let them know that, hey, it's okay if you want to do stuff in the chat box or you want to talk back and forth, that's fine. We can have some discussion. Maybe when there's a minute before class starts, I switch it to yellow to let them know, hey, 30 seconds to a minute before it's time to start settling down, wrap up your conversations. We're getting ready to start. And then maybe I switch to the red light when it's time for class to start and I'm ready to go ahead and begin. Maybe I integrate my red light along with uh, an air horn sound effect off my soundboard, and then I let them know that class is ready to rock and roll for the day. So it's a wonderful way that you can kind of manage some of that. Also, if you're in some different settings where students are talking back and forth, you can manage it with red light, green light. You can even manage this in a face-to-face setting also. When your students come in, you can still utilize this, having your screen projected up onto a wall, up onto a screen, onto an Apple TV, whatever it may be. You can still utilize this same format with the green light, yellow light, red light, and the air horns as well. So it's a wonderful way to kind of monitor the classroom discussions in there and the noise level. You also can have a clock, which is kind of nice and handy to have up there as you're going through with your class to kind of help keep you on task, but also keep your students on task as well. A stopwatch. So if you wanted to do certain activities and you wanted them to be on a timer, so I would be able to set my timer for a certain amount of time and then have it go ahead and start. In order to remove widgets, all you have to do is click on it. So if I wanted to remove this clock, I click on it and you see the X up there in the corner and I go ahead and remove it. And now that is gone. I also have the ability to put calendars up there. I have the ability to utilize different symbols that I can put up. So this is kind of handy for some of our kids that maybe work better and don't understand some of the other symbols, but be able to put symbols up there for, hey, we need to be quiet now, or hey, we can use our whisper voices. So it's another way that I can communicate with my students without actually saying things, and they can look for that visual cue, whether it be in my virtual class or whether it be in my face-to-face class. I do have the ability to type text in. So if I click that text, I can have text that will appear and will stay posted within my class. So if I have a set of maybe 3 or 4 directions that I want my students to follow when they enter my face-to-face class, I can put it in there. In the virtual environment, I know Open has used several activities where we've used dice, and students may not have dice at home or a dice app available, or maybe I don't want them to, fold up 5 or 6 different pieces of paper and select them at random. So this does enable you to roll a dice. So I could actually lead a virtual class through an activity and roll the dice and be able to tell them what activity they're doing. It even has the handy dandy sound. I can use one, I can use two, I can even use three. So a lot of different applications that I have there that I can utilize with this, in this particular format. So I do have the ability to put that in there. Another thing that is also kind of cool is utilizing QR codes. So if I wanted to have my students go to a particular website, maybe my school is one-to-one and my kids bring devices with them, I can shine this up on the wall. I can type in the website that I want them to go to, and they can just go ahead and scan the QR code with their phone, and they're there right there engaged in what I want them to do. Can work the same way in the virtual environment. If you put this up and they have access to tablets or their own personal devices, then they can go to those websites also. And then again, there is a media tab on here, which is also kind of cool. I'll get rid of that, our stoplight there. So our media tab gives us the ability to not only put images in, utilize webcam or embed it, but also utilize YouTube like we had from before. So if, let's see, I think I still have that. Yep, still have the video in there. So if I go ahead and embed that in there, then it's going to have the YouTube video right there for me. And I can go ahead and have that up for my students and all ready to go when I'm in that class. So, and I can position it wherever I want to. And I have the ability to go ahead and play that. So as my students are actually coming into class, I would be able to have them be able to watch the video as they were coming in as some sort of a hook or some sort of a tease to get them ready to go in order to prepare for class. So classroom screen, once again, another great tool that you can utilize. If you just use the free version, like I said, you would have to reload this every day. You wouldn't have the ability to create your account and have yourself, basically set up each day. But as you can see, I mean, it's pretty simple to go ahead and have all set up if you're all ready to go with your class each and every day. So classroom screen, pretty cool tool to utilize for our face-to-face or our virtual environments. Uh, Another thing that we found that teachers have utilized a lot more is photos. And I've got a couple of uh, free versions of websites that you can use in the upper right here. So, and I'm gonna show you kind of the difference between two of them. That's why I like to share two. So one is called Remove BG, or Remove Background from Image. The other one's called Photo Scissors. So I'll show you Remove BG first. When I click on Remove BG, it's basically going to ask me to go ahead and upload an image. Now I can create an account, but I don't have to. This is available and for use absolutely 100% free. So if I click on upload an image, or I can drag one in, I've got an image right here from Pedal for PE that we utilize, myself and the Lieutenant Governor from Oklahoma in front of the Capitol. But the picture itself has us standing in front of the Capitol, and they were renovating the Capitol, so it had a big fence in it. So I'll show you the original right here. So it had a fence around it and had the Capitol building behind. So I can remove the background from it. Now it's just going to show myself and the governor there, but I do have the ability to edit the background. So if I wanted to, I could click on that edit button, and I can either blur the background behind. I have different degrees of blurring that I can do. I could choose one of their pre-made backgrounds. So if I wanted the Lieutenant Governor and myself to be at the beach, I could show us at the beach, having our ceremony instead. I can select a photo to upload to put behind us. So I do have the ability to go ahead and alter this some how I want to. So let's say that I don't want a background. um, I'm just going to revert back to where we were before. I do have the ability up here to erase and restore. So what that means is, if let's say I wanted to keep that banner. So I come over here, I can choose my brush size. I come back over here into the actual where the photo was. And if I hold down with a left click on my mouse button, I would be able to go ahead and click restore, and I can go ahead and I can restore that pedal for PE sign that was actually located on that fence. So now I could keep the pedal for PE in there and keep myself and the lieutenant governor in there, but then I don't have all that gross fence background behind us. Now, once I go ahead and restore, you see I've gone over a little bit. I click erase. Let me shrink my brush size down some, and then I can do the fine tuning work where I get down to just that pedal for PE sign. So it does give me the ability to go in there and change it however I want to. When I get that picture how I want, I click download and it's going to download the file for me as a picture file. And then I've got my new and updated picture of myself and the governor with the pedal for PE sign without the ugly fence in the background. So there is one more way that you can alter photos. Also in the upper right here, we just went over remove BG. This one's called photo scissors right here. So it's in the upper right corner. So with photo scissors, you also have the ability to alter photos that you upload. It works kind of similarly, but you will see a little bit of a difference. So I click on upload. I'm going to upload my image of myself and the lieutenant governor again. As it comes through, once again, it's going to load into the photo scissors template and it's going to take out the background. But you'll notice something a little bit different here. So in this one, the pedal for PE sign remained in the photo as part of the real photo, but you will see that the lieutenant governor's hand was actually cropped out. It was viewed as part of the background there. So obviously some adjusting that would need to be made there with this particular photo. So you do have the ability using the toolbar up here in the upper left to erase parts or add parts back in. So you would, I could go back in and I'd be able to add in the lieutenant governor's hand there so that now you see it has appeared over here on his hand. Again, you have the ability to change your background if you want to. So right now it's a transparent background. I could upload an image behind there if I wanted to, or a solid color. Let's say I just wanted to do a color and I wanted to make it a red color similar to what was on the pedal for PE sign, and then I would be able to go ahead and match that up. So a lot of different things that you can do with photo scissors as well as with remove BG. So I encourage you to kind of utilize those tools. Again, it enables us to hook students into our classes. Even if I'm in a face-to-face class and maybe have a photo of myself making a tennis stroke in tennis, you know, it's a lot more impactful to have me standing on center court at Wimbledon doing my tennis stroke than it is just me standing, you know, with a wall in a background or a red background behind me. So it's promoting that almost that entertainment value as teachers. And again, if you're in a virtual environment, it does give you the opportunity to do some pretty cool things with photos to get students hooked and kind of involved in your class. The last thing I want to share with you are some other resources that you can go to. So they're in the middle right-hand side right here. Casey Bell with the yellow ponytail, she is one of them. Richard Byrne that does free technology for teachers is right here. Leslie Fisher, she likes to golf, so she's the golfer there. And then below her is Tony Vincent. All four of these are outstanding resources to utilize for ed tech purposes and to find new technology tools to utilize in your classrooms. They're active on social media. Richard Byrne here, he sends out actually every Sunday a tech tip email with some different tools that you can utilize. Tony Vincent does a lot of step-by-step instructions how to do certain things. So he's kind of cool. And again, a lot of them are active on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and all. So obviously a lot of stuff left on the screen here that I did not go over, but that will all be left on there for you to utilize at your own disposal, and you can investigate as you want. Once again, I am happy to answer any questions in the chat box. Can stick around a little bit after the session also, or you can always reach out to me at my contact, bdevore@openphysed.org. Always happy to help you with any technology questions or anything that you need answered in regards to utilizing technology in your classroom. If I don't know the answer, I may know somebody who does, or another place that you can look for it. So I appreciate you coming to the session today and your attention. And hopefully we were able to provide some great resources for you to utilize in the technology world with your health and physical education classes. Have a wonderful day.